This is about the pros and cons, the good points and the bad points of travel. This is a good topic to talk about now because I've just come back from England. I had almost, yeah, I guess 3 weeks, almost a month, 3 weeks back in England. I was working for the first week with some kids from my school, taking Japanese kids around London. That was very fun, but exhausting. And then I had almost 2 weeks, I think, 13 days, to see my family in my hometown. And I even got a chance to spend 2 days up in Scotland, in the far north of Britain. So that was really fun. So I feel like it's a fresh topic for me to talk about the pros and cons of travel. And looking at this lesson, the pros, the good points. I mean, of course, visiting my family was number one for me, as it is for anybody traveling. But if you think about perhaps travel as tourism, going there for fun, that's kind of what the kids from Japan were experiencing. And I can see these 3 points here are very true. Cultural exposure. Yeah, going to London for the kids was really good. They'd The youngest was 12 years old, the oldest was 16, so they're pretty young. They'd never been, most of them had never been abroad. Some had been on airplanes, one had never been on an airplane. So, there was a lot of experience of going, especially to somewhere like London, which is very multicultural. You see people of all different races and religions and attitudes and languages. It's quite an eye opener. So, cultural exposure, personal growth. Yeah, I think it's healthy for everybody to get outside of their local area and realize there's a whole world out there. And the third point is building connections. Yeah, we did a little of that. We made friends with the next door neighbors and yeah, beginning to make contact with people from another culture is the whole point of learning English and the whole point of traveling. So all of those pros were there. That's true. Of course, there were cons, disadvantages, bad points, just like it says here. Environmental impact. Yeah, I mean, I took 4 flights. I flew to Doha, Qatar, in the Middle East, and that was how long? 10 hours, 10-hour flight. And then from there to London was another 7-hour flight. That's a lot of air fuel being burnt in the atmosphere. It can't be good for the earth. So that's the environmental impact, certainly. Cultural insensitivity, lack of cultural respect can lead to the McDonaldization of culture. The funny thing is, I mean, you can go anywhere and you'll find a McDonald's. I didn't eat at it at all for the 3 weeks. But not just McDonald's, you go into Heathrow Airport and there's a big Starbucks. So, I bought this T-shirt. It says New York, but I bought it in England. So, I mean, isn't that crazy? All culture gets mixed together into one sort of bland culture so that you could go to a Starbucks. You could be drinking a coffee in Narita, in London, in Doha, and it's the same coffee or same style. It's a bit sad. Finally, economic disparity. Not so much that, that especially if you're traveling to a third world country and you're spending lots of money, it makes the other country dependent on your income. I mean, Britain is still not a third world country. I don't know if we even use the term third world country, but it's not a poor country. But it does depend on tourism. It's big business coming to Britain and spending money. We pumped in, I don't know how many thousands of pounds, how many millions of yen we spent. Certainly it went into Doha. I mean, it's a small, Qatar is a small kingdom on the edge of Saudi Arabia. Their main business is oil, as far as I can tell. Oil and the airport. I think the airport brings in so much money. So if there wasn't travel and tourism, there would be nothing, almost nothing in Qatar. And London would be a much poorer place if there weren't so many tourists spending money, I think. So, but that can be economic disparity, isn't it? They're not equal, you know. There are rich and poor, and maybe travel makes that worse. Maybe it makes it better. I'm not sure. So things to think about when you're traveling. I mean, I know usually when you're traveling, you're just thinking about, oh, let's have a good time and let's eat the local food and let's speak English. But there are more issues there if you want to see them. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see. I've got some questions here. Number one, what was the best travel experience you've ever had? What was the worst? That's two questions. Best and worst travel experience. Oof. Number two, is international travel still necessary in the age of the internet? We all have Zoom or, internet communication is easy. Why do we need to travel? And my final question, is there a difference between travel and tourism? Travel is, going for different reasons. Tourism is just going to have a look at places. Is there a difference between the two? Okay. Thank you very much. Have a think about these questions, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.